Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Hamlet Colldo, Vodia PBX engineer for Vodia Networks. Today, we will go through the auto attendant settings and how you can use the auto attendant for your deployments. If you have any questions during the live presentation, please feel free to comment on the chat box in the right-hand corner. Here's an overview of what we will be discussing today. What is an auto attendant? We will be creating an auto attendant, creating IVR announcements, configuring the auto attendant for incoming calls. What is an auto attendant? Vodia Auto Attendant is nothing more than a virtual receptionist. The auto attendant connects incoming calls to extensions, ring groups, or call queues. The auto attendant is very granular, in which many different deployments and scenarios can be done. In the upcoming version 68, you will see many new features available, like paging incoming from the AA, text-to-speech announcements, and many more new features. All right, so traditionally, let me go to the PBX and show you how to create an auto attendant. This is the front view of the PBX. I already have a domain created. So we're going to do is click on the domain. Left-hand panel, you'll see all of your accounts. What you have to do is go to auto attendant, click add, and then give your auto attendant an account name. Okay, great. Okay. So if we go into the auto attendant, there are a few things that you guys might be interested in. One of them is, most importantly, is the IVR. When they hit the auto attendant, you want to present a message to them, some instructions on how to go through the PBX through direct destination. So because I already have auto attendants created, English and Spanish, I'm just going to go into one that's already filled with some data. Excuse me. So a few things, behavior, extension input. This means that if you do a dial by name or want to perform an action to get to an extension, we will take the first 3 digits. Going into the IVR section, I've already created a few announcements on version 68, which I'm on now, which will be available soon. You'll be able to click on the file, and then you'll see a text. So here you can write the text you want, and then the auto attendant will play it. I already have a default text. So when you hit the auto attendant from the outside, you'll hear this message. This is coming through Google Speech. It's already available on version 68. There's nothing you need to do to set anything up, no APIs, completely clean, and out the box, you can use this. A few things, once you upload your file, it does have to be 16-bit mono, 8,000 kilohertz. You can do that with Gold Wave, or you can simply use the text-to-speech, which I highly recommend. You can also mix your message with some background music. So if you have music on hold, you can mix that and control the volume of the music. Below, we have some default settings, say name, please enter your extension number, or dial by name directory. These functions work if you have some value set, and I'll show you that. So if we go back into edit mode, you have the account number. I've already named this English auto attendant. I'll show you why. I have an outbound ANI. You can see there's only a few digits. I'm using 978, so the PBX is smart enough to strip the area code and just give me the number, which is cool. Here you have accounts that cannot be called. For example, CEO, CTOs don't want to be called from the auto attendant. You can add their extensions here. You can pick any extension. And then here, accounts that can be called. If you leave it empty, that means everybody can be called in the system. So you have some control. The auto attendant does have a dial plan. That means that if I go to my direct destination, I can actually put a phone number here. customer presses 6, for example, it will go out and use the dial plan. We also have paging incoming calls. So what you can do with this is you can have a paging account found here, paging groups, and then you can tell the paging group which extension it will use. Like, for example, cyber data, any device that talks SIP can primarily be a paging unit. Okay. And what we'll do is when an incoming call comes in, the paging, we will page the account and say, we have an incoming call from a number. Okay. We also have send daily CDRs. You can put an email here. You can use a 24-hour format or 15-minute intervals, and you can choose a day. Primarily, I would just want my CDRs to be Friday and get all my CDRs that flow through the auto attendant. Here we have set languages, English, and a secondary language, Spanish. To use this feature, you have to download the audio pack that we have. We have a slew of languages that you can download on the system. To use the second language, for example, you would have to set this up in a direct destination. Here I have 4. So when you hit 4, it will go to my nested auto attendant, which is a Spanish one. And I'll show you how that works. We have a timeout handling, and then a timeout of, let's say, 60 seconds. And this is useful. Somebody calls the auto attendant and makes no inquiry or doesn't press any destination. It's very important that you set a timeout or hang up, because you don't want that call to be continually going. It will cost you money. So it's very important that you set a timeout so it can disconnect the call for you. We have the night service flag here. This is very important. Obviously, you're running a business for your client and you want to choose a service flag. Right now I have 2. They're manual. And service flags can be automatic based on time. So if you set a service flag here and a night service number, could be a service number to a 1-800 or some center that will pick up the calls after hours, like a nurse's station, for example. That's why we have the dial plan, because the auto attendant is capable of dialing out. We also have the dial by name, input the trigger name search. Could be any number you want. We will announce that automatically for you after your announcement message has been done. And you can press 9, and then you can do a search by name. So 3 letters, JOH, will go to John Carner, for example. You can also do ask for confirmation. It's a very simple auto attendant. Anybody can set it up. So just a few things. Obviously, when you make your announcements here, you want to also set your destination based on your announcement so they can both match. For example, press 1 will go to a specific extension or account on the PBX. In some cases, you might find yourself where here, for example, I have a 1 and my destination is also 1002. Let's say I want to dial 1002 because I know the extension. However, when I press 1, it'll go, let's just make it clear, and let's say 1004. Put a hash pound here and save it. This will give it time for the individual to dial the extension rather than go directly to 1. Okay. So how do we get to the auto attendant? So obviously you need a SIP trunk. Right now I'm using call-centric. So right now, if I go into my call-centric account, call-centric trunk, it's already set up for me. If you go to, let's say, add, and then go to call-centric, for example, all you need to do is plug in your account number and password and the ID, save, and you'll get a 200 OK. There's nothing else you need to do. There's no any changes you need to do except where you want the calls to be sent. So in this case, I want to send my call to my auto attendant. So I'll routing, redirection, send calls to specific account. I can say, go to my auto attendant and say 560 and then save. Okay, so when I call into the auto attendant, it will directly send the call directly to the auto attendant. Okay, if you guys wanted to test or call in to the auto attendant. I'm just going to name this here. So if anyone wants to call the 978-379-0807, you will hear the English auto attendant. If you want to do that now, I can check the active calls and see who's calling in. If you do call in into the auto attendant and you want to hear the second language, just press 4. The PBX will announce it after your main announcement and will say, let's press 4 for a secondary language. Another thing that you might be interested in is service flags. Right now, I have 2 manual service flags. And the reason why we have the service flags settings here under IVR is because, for example, let's say there's a snowstorm, there's an emergency, the receptionist can turn on the service flag manually, even if it's automatic. And what would happen is when you call into the auto attendant, then you will hear this message here. So for example, let's say, not sure if you guys can hear this. So let's say I want to go and press 4. So you can see you can nest auto attendants based on language, which is pretty cool. If I turn on the service flag, now call in the auto attendant. Then we can check the service flag. You can see it's set. Okay. There's no audio. Okay. Well, in any case, you guys can call in. Let's see. Let me just deactivate the service flag. You can choose your own music on hold. Obviously, you can purchase them or download them from a particular site that's royalty free. Or you can also use RTP Stream. We're using Music on Hold, which we have a great partnership with them. And what they will do is you supply them with the IP of the PBX, make sure everything as far as RTP are open in the firewall, so you hear the RTP streaming. And then you put the port number that you want the music to flow into. So you can give them the IP address and the port you want, and then you just add the port, whatever the port is, and then say jazz or something. And then what would happen is the music will stop flowing once you open your account when easy on hold. And if you want to know more about that, you can send us an email at sales@vodia.com or support@vodia.com. The other option is you have a file, you can upload your file. And the cool thing about the music on hold source is that you have some options that you can set here. You can send a text to a user, or you can redirect a number based on the key options here. So it's a little bit more granular. This is version 68 that's running. So you're going to see a lot of new features available to you once the release is available with release notes, of course. Okay, share this screen. All right, how about now? All right. So let me go back to answer Anthony's question about redirection based on service flags. So here we have call forward, all calls. Just to be clear, this is on an extension. Every extension has redirection feature. So we go to, let's say I want to forward all my calls to 4002. I can say all calls, internal calls, external calls. It's really based on preference. Then you have explicitly specified times. You can say 9 to 5. You can mix and match them. It can be, for example, on a Friday. It doesn't have to be all day, Monday through Friday. You can choose what day you want those calls to be forwarded. And then, of course, you can set your holidays. So in itself, on the redirection, it has its own service flag mechanism that is not attached to the service flag accounts, which are primarily used on accounts like auto attendants, ring groups, and call queues. All right, so I mean, obviously, the auto attendant, when calling in, you don't want to have callers call at 5, 7 o'clock. You do have a business time to set. The scenario is you can set your service flag here and put your night service, or you can send the call straight to voicemail by just dialing 84001, which is my account. And that incoming call, will go directly to a voicemail when the service flag is active. Nothing special about it. It's a 9 to 5 business hours, and you want to send the call somewhere. It can be anywhere. It can be a service center. It can be a cell phone. It could be anything, as long as it's a number that can be dialed. And again, we have the dial plans for that. You can have, so let's say you have, okay, so let's say here, I'm going to say I have my school and then my school delay message or whatever. So I have 2 service flags. Let's say one is automatic based on 9 to 5, and then you have one that's manual, right? So let's say, everyone's in the office. For some reason, everybody needs to go out. Maybe it's lunchtime, or maybe it's an emergency, whatever that might be. The receptionist can dial 334 and activate the service flag. Okay. It's basically overrunning the automatic, but the automatic will kick in anyway because it's a 9 to 5. You just set a manual service flag to activate now for a specific reason, whatever the reason is, and you can set a night service number. So you can have as many service flags as you want here. They can have different functions. The functions I'm using here is, for example, a school scenario. Let's say I'm going to dial 332. The service flag is now active. If anybody wants to call into the system, you're going to hear the no school, all classes. Basically, anything that I write here will be you hear it on the phone. And for that reason, this is why this feature is used, so you can have basically a mechanism of emergencies or new announcements of any kind, maybe address change. You can set that service flag for that. Once the message is done, you are going to hear some other instructions on how to, for example, go to a different direct destination or dial an extension, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to deactivate the night service flag, and it should go to its regular announcement.